There was a newly ordained priest who was as short as me. He celebrated his first Mass in a very huge cathedral. When he greeted the people, "The Lord be with you," the people responded, "And where are you?" Being short makes me wish for more faith, so that I can believe and trust that with the grace of God, I can do worthwhile things for Him and for His people. The readings for this Sunday, among other things, speak of faith, a faith that is firstly a free gift from God, which when recognized and accepted will undergo a series of growing, maturing, and becoming whole as well as integrated. Secondly, faith is our conscious and active response to God who makes Himself known to us, who passes us by every moment of our waking and resting, rising and sitting, doing and being. This faith, this gift, and this response forms a unity that enjoys a creative tension, so that in and through this one and the same faith, we can know where we come from and where we are going, as well as become grounded and rooted fully in the one that gives us faith and sustains our faith. Faith is not a magical power. Faith is not blind allegiance or obedience. Faith is not ideology. Faith is not belief or doctrine. Faith is a dynamic and living relationship which, like life, passes through the tests of time. Because of the fact that faith is dynamic and living, there is no wonder that faith has high and low moments, moments of surety and moments of questioning, moments of calmness and moments of turbulence, moments of certainty and moments of doubt. The images of the wind, earthquake, and fire that the first reading has spoken about indicated these moments both at the same time. Wind, earthquake, and fire are sources of energy, energy that can be both constructive and destructive. As a destructive energy, excessive wind, earthquake, and fire destroy lives and properties. As a constructive energy, enough wind, earthquake, and fire drive, purify, cleanse, and transform life for the better. In the second reading, Paul compares this energy to the dynamism of the Holy Spirit, the Spirit of truth, and the teacher of truth. In the Gospel, this energy is none other than the person of Jesus, the Lord and teacher of faith, to whom and only whom we are to focus and to listen with attentive and undivided heart. Once we decide to come to Jesus, let us not be distracted by any form of allurements, or else, like Peter, we will begin to sink in the sea of confusion, false securities, complication, and worries of life. Friends, as we continue walking on the way toward growing, maturing, and becoming whole in our faith response to God, who calls us to take heart and not to be afraid, let us remember that in the midst of our business and preoccupations, worries, and unreasonable expectations, we can only find God when we allow ourselves to be caught up and enveloped by God's sound of sheer silence. Have you ever heard the sound of sheer silence? Can you describe how it sounds like? The sound of sheer silence is not the absence of noise. Rather, it is the transformation of noise into a vehicle for an astute, wise, and perceptive awareness that God is present in everyone and everything. That God can be found even in what we humanly consider as bad, unfavorable, and unpleasant thing, place, event, and person. The fact that God is the creator of everyone and everything, therefore everyone and everything, whether you like it or not, carry God and bear the imprint and the aroma of God. Hence all is sacred, even the so-called enemies. And yes, all, including the people we hate or like less, can be the sound of God's sheer silence. Silence creates the right moment for a deep encounter with God. When we are silent, God in turn enables us to encounter and to listen to ourselves and others more intimately, because God dwells in each one of us. Without silence, faith cannot get necessary nutrients. Thus, it does not grow and mature. It dies prematurely. With silence, faith grows and matures healthily and bears fruit abundantly. Thus, faith becomes rooted and grounded upon its source and nurturer. When silence accompanies faith, its growth and development, faith becomes attuned with what is going on around it. And with discernment and prudence, faith acts and responds from a caring, merciful, and just heart. But without silence, faith is self-centered, egoistic, and acts like the next door bully. It cares only about itself, and so it dies alone with itself. Friends, when we want to possess a grown-up and matured, responsible, and responsive faith, let us cultivate silence and make it a regular part of our life and ritual. And with the grace of God, may that same faith become a person filled with love and hope, concern and care, mercy and forgiveness, joy and justice, kindness and tenderness to all, especially the poor, weak, elderly, needy, and strangers. Indeed, to possess this kind of faith demands that we may be possessed first by God, who is sheer silence and stillness.